Hi, I'm Greg Kale, and I'm here with Amira Palacios. Amira works in strategic communications with HDR, and we're going to talk today about the lead and copper rule revisions, because the new rule will require a different level of communications between water utilities and school and child care facilities. Thanks so much for being here, Amira.
Great to be here.
So Amira, it's worth remembering right now as the new school year starts that in October of 2024, the lead and copper rule revisions are going to be implemented. And this is going to introduce a lot of new interactions between schools and child care facilities and water utilities. So what do we need to know?
So in general, the lead and copper rule revisions really require water utilities to sort of break out of their silo and be more collaborative with other agencies such as local school districts and licensed child care facilities. And that's the reason why the Public Affairs Council really put their minds together and put together a really thorough lead communications guide and toolkit, knowing that this is a lot for water utilities to navigate.
Yes, it definitely is. As it relates to schools and child care facilities, what are some of the key things coming out of the lead and copper rule revisions that we should be focusing on?
In general, it requires water utilities to share more with schools and licensed child care facilities than probably they ever have. And it really requires them to think about their school sampling plan. So it requires for water utilities to, beginning with that October 16th, 2024 deadline, to sample, all of those elementary schools and child care facilities once during that 5-year period after October 16th, 2024. So that's right around the corner, and there is a lot to do to prepare for that moment.
And there are specific communications requirements as well that water utilities should be prepared for. Can you talk a little bit about those?
Yeah, so water utilities are required to share about the health effects of lead in drinking water, and also just some public education about how lead ends up in drinking water. And there's also those annual notifications and a water utility CCR, their water quality report. And there's just more coordination with the Department of Health, knowing that, there are some states and water utilities that have been really proactive on the school sampling point. And so in some cases, a state may actually waive some of these requirements for an existing proactive program around school sampling. So now is the time not only to think about, as a water utility, your water story and how you're partnering with local schools to explain and really demystify, some of this, knowing that when it comes to talking about children and the issue of lead and how it ends up into drinking water, that may cause public concern for the parents of school-aged children.
So let's talk just a little bit about the sampling requirements in the new revisions. Water utilities have a lot to balance in terms of resources and how to reach out to get the job done right.
That's right. The LCRR requires that water systems test 5 water outlets per school and 2 water outlets per child care facility. That's a lot. And if you're in a bigger school district or even a medium size, that is a lot of logistics to coordinate in general. So water utilities all across the nation, they may have different logistical approaches to how they want to handle school sampling. In some cases, the water utility wants to do it all, right? They want to do the sampling program, they want to do the analyses, they want to put together messaging templates for the school system and for child care administrators to share with their families. In other cases, there are some school systems that are rather sophisticated and have their existing, water sampling programs in schools, and so they may need some technical assistance on how to analyze the water quality information and to do that level of heavy lifting. You also have to consider school districts that are going to be utilizing maintenance personnel for the sampling. And so, again, this emphasis on doing the job right and providing that technical assistance and support and training for any kind of maintenance personnel that may be brought in to help with getting everything done as far as the water sampling is concerned. It's a great opportunity to start to get proactive about these things, confirm the approaches, start to think about how you want to message that with your community, and how you want to partner together as far as the logistics of who's going to do it, how you're going to fund it, and who's going to be the relevant spokespersons for each part of this.
It sounds like water utilities, if they aren't already doing it, they really need to get busy now, even in preparing those lists and knowing who to reach out with.
I'm glad you mentioned that. So for some water utilities, actually just finding an up-to-date list of school systems and the licensed childcare facilities can be challenging. And so there are a number of ways to get up-to-date information. You want to go to your state Department of Education to get your list of public and private schools, because private schools is included in that school sampling requirement. You also want to look at the points of licensure and occupancy for those licensed childcare facilities. So it could be a Department of Health or another rating agency for those childcare facilities. I also like to look at your local municipal occupancy permit agency. So you can kind of catch childcare facilities at both of those points of licensure, which can be helpful for getting an up-to-date list, knowing that during the pandemic, we've just seen so much turnover and what licensed childcare facilities are actually out there, because a lot of them have either closed, changed locations, changed hands, all of those things. So getting an up-to-date list and keeping it up-to-date between now and 2025 can be challenging.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Great information, Amira. I hope that everyone will take advantage of AWWA's resources, not only the lead communications guide, but also a whole host of compliance resources associated with the lead and copper rule revisions. Amira, I hope we can talk again sometime soon.
Thanks, Greg.
Thank you.